Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Axel James Wave.
Yo, Abla, yo luta do dede. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Busel mu fine.
What?
Busel mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. Ak Wave. Busel mu fine. Wave. Your money is yours.
Sanneh alias Kexx. He's a fellow journalist and he's here to talk about a protest march against corruption that a recently established movement in the Gambia, the Gambians Against Looted Assets GALA, is to hold later this week. Kexx, thanks for coming.
Thank you, Uncle Peter. It's a pleasure to be
And thanks for breaking the bad news to me, a few weeks ago. when my name came up in court. And shortly after that, I got that subpoena.
Absolutely.
Before we go into your activities with GALA, everybody tells me that when it comes to court reporting, you're number one. I mean, how did you develop a passion for court reporting? Because it's a specialized area of journalism as well.
Absolutely. It's all emerged from a passion because I'm fortunate to be at places where actually informations have been shared. I could remember starting with the National Assembly in 2017 when the new National Assembly sworn in. And I was opportune to be at the National Assembly every sittings, to know what the people are saying or acting on behalf of the Gambian population, since all of us cannot go to the parliament and be represented. So I feel like, okay, I should be in the parliament. So out of passion, being in the parliament, reporting, I think I'm the first person who even stream live at the National Assembly sittings, and people then develop interest about this whole issue until Yakumba Jaite dragged the president to court in regards to when he was dismissed from the parliament for the president's deeming that she's not serving the purpose why she is nominated. And the matter went to court. So as somebody who was reporting in parliament, then I said, okay, I must follow this case. Then I went to the court, reporting the proceedings of the court proceeding at the Supreme Court. And when I start reporting, I report verbatim, to put people inside the court to understand actually what was happening. And I see the public reaction. Everybody appreciate the way I report. Then from there, I develop, said, okay, since people appreciate and, moving forward, National Assembly now has see the need to have their own medium. They bring their gadgets and now they are streaming their parliamentary sessions. So then let me move to another area that is so dormant that people actually doesn't have much interest in, and it is important, to bring it to the light of it. Then I moved to the National Assembly. Then for I feel it's deemed that actually what I was doing was good. By then I was reporting for the parliament. Then Yankuba went to the TR, the commission, that's the local government commission.
Yankuba Jallo, your fellow reporter.
Yeah, so they said there was a vacuum that they want somebody to fill. They contracted me to be their court reporter. So this is how the whole issue comes. And actually, we're trying our best. We are not the best.
Fantastic. And that, you've been there all these years without much problem, if at all, shows the care you put into your work, because it's very easy to fall out with these lawyers.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's very easy for them to come and say, no, that was not what I said in court.
Absolutely. We do encounter that, but we are always mindful to be very authentic, to make sure that we pick up what was said in court. We don't put ourselves in the news, but we just report as it is. And when such issues emerge, you can actually defend yourself. I could remember a scenario, one of a lawyer disagreed that actually what I report was not what transpired in court, and there was this argument, and the matter was brought before the presiding judge, and we went through my records, and it's definitely what transpired in court. So sometimes they will look at loopholes because they feel like what you have reported is not in favor of them, and they don't want that information to come out. So sometimes such issues will come, but one you need to do is to be very attentive and don't rely on second-hand information. If you are not in court, just say that you are not in court. If you cannot have the record, just leave it like that, but don't say it because it's a hot cake, I have to report it, and you rely on a second-hand information. Sometimes it's happened, and I see sometimes where people rely on the other party party, that's the lawyer, to get information what transpired in court. But it's very dangerous. So I refuse not to actually do that. But I also see that, lawyers itself appreciate what I do. Some lawyers will tell me that now I don't take notes because I only rely on what you write, as my note, before they will have their clerk sitting next to them to be recording the proceedings, so that when they are cross-examined or they want to rely on the evidence, to cross-examine, they will use that. But some lawyers now will just wait until I post, and they will just take that one as their records.
Oh, fantastic.
So it shows that
you've become a reference, so to
absolutely,
speak.
Absolutely.
And how do you avoid saying too much, about a case that is ongoing? Because you know that you can't just report, in depth about a case that is in court.
Yeah, absolutely. When we start this, and we need to look at around, what are some of the rules and regulations that governs where we are reporting that court. We look at, there's a handout. I first requested for that to understand the codes, and the things that are accepted from a journalist and the ones that are not accepted. And I see that you cannot talk about the merit of a case whilst it is going on. So you can talk about what transpired in the court that was already been established, or there were testimonies to that effect. You can talk about. You cannot deal with a merit where it will prejudice the whole proceeding. So we were very mindful in terms of not going deep inside, where we can give, like radio stations will call us to give an explanation in regards to some of these high-profile cases like the Usaini Bojans and the Bob Keita's case before. So we'll give our analysis in terms of what transpired that very day or what transpired after, but we didn't go into the details of what our own opinion of how we will see the outcome of the case, whether the person is guilty or not. That's not our domain. That's the domain of the court. That's why we all go to the court to look at the last verdict of the court. So normally we are very mindful of not going deep inside where it limits us. That's where we are limited, and we also have some training with the court itself to train us how journalists will be reporting. I could remember one was sponsored by Freedom House, where we went there and do some training in regards to where is the limitation and where our right stops and where our right ends. So we are very mindful of such.
Okay, and you've become sort of dean of court reporters. The new ones that come in, do they recognize your status? Do they come to you for support? And if they do, how do you give this support?
Yeah, absolutely. On several occasions, media houses will come, send their reporters, and before that, they will reach out to me to say that, Kexx, we feel developed, we think that we should have a reporter at the court, but since you are somebody who is very familiar with this, we want your assistant, just welcome her, guide her until the person on. So I do that. Almost 4 or 5 people came through me, and they said, let me guide them, and the little that I know, I share with them. Sometimes they will write their stories. I will tell them, let me just go over it and see whether, it aligns with what is happening, and they are very happy, and I also guide them, and that has happened. And presently I have somebody who is even presently attached to me from one media house that actually develop interest of reporting on the courts. And sometimes I will even work with other sister media houses. Maybe they are not there, but they want to at least some information. We will share it, because at the end of the day, the whole objective is dissemination of information for the public to actually know what's happened. If you have an informed citizens, then you have, if information is flowing, then you have an informed citizens. And once you have an informed citizens, they do the right thing. So for me, the passion of dissemination of information become key to me, because that's my belief that informed citizens will always do the right thing. But if the information is not flowing, then citizens don't know what their representatives are doing on their behalf, and this is why I developed the passion of sharing information.
Mm-hmm. So courts are sitting every day.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, you have some high-profile cases that dominate the news, and sometimes we hear a lull in the reporting for a long time because maybe the case is adjourned. For X number of months. Sometimes it may even take a year. Yet you hear people complain that the court process, the justice process, is very slow.
Absolutely. But if you look at the volumes of cases that are filed before a court, I could remember during the legal year when the Chief Justice Hassan B. Jallow was actually giving the volume of cases that are actually filed just only in Brikama, Banjul, and other parts of the country. You could see that there are thousands of cases that are filed, and more of these things are more of our land issues. There have been huge volume of land cases that are coming and real estates, being dragged to
in
court.
fact, some special land, whatever is being, created in the judiciary just to deal with
land issues. So the volume by then there was no separation. So you will see one judge will be handling almost 2,000 cases. So
goodness me, one judge 2,000 cases.
So if you want to,
no wonder they are, requesting for more pay.
More pay, absolutely. So if you have to hear all those cases now, you want to at least hear from every part. Then you must give them at least a period of time. So that's why you will hear a case. It will be hard for 1 hour and it will be adjourned because you want to give opportunity to other cases. Because you don't want to hear only one cases. Then that means the other filing will say that I have filed my case for 1 year. Up to now they have never called me. So you create that room for those people to hear each cases. So they have their whole week. You will see that at least one judge will sit over 10 cases a day. So if you look at that, and the time is from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock. So 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour. If you have 10 cases, so almost it's 10 hours, and you should only work for 8 hours. So you could see that that's why we have high-profile cases that are happening. But we don't have a jury system like that we have in the America, where you will just sit down. When the jury sit down and they see the facts, they end the case there. Here you must hear both parties. Either you know the facts already, the facts is before the court, but you must hear everybody until the end of it. So that's also have a problem in regards to our case. In other parts, once the facts is established, you just end the case there. But here you must hear every party. You must hear the defendant, you must hear the plaintiff, and you must also file your briefs and arguments, and judge has to sit down and now look at all those records and prepare a judgment. So normally it takes time. So that's why, but normally too they have breaks. Like presently on the 31st they are going for break for up till October. That's the High Court. They will go for what we call the vacation. So that during that period they will also develop their judgments that are pending, to write their judgments or their rulings during that period of time, and also have some workshops where they will partner with their sister countries to look at some of the new laws that have been emerging, because the world is evolving, and certain things that are accepted in the 21st century or in the 18th centuries are no more accepted because of fundamental human rights has been emerging and other issues. So they will also have those things, because we are even planning to have almost 56 high Chief Justice in the Gambia that will have a program in the Gambia here, hosted by the Gambia.
56?
56, yes. So they are planning on all those things, and that seminar should happen in the Gambia. They have chosen.
Okay, so these would be from all over Africa?
All over Africa, okay. Yeah. So all these things are happening. So sometimes they go for break to develop certain things, and do other things. But now they are moving away from just normal writing, where judges will sit down and listen to everybody and write. Now they have developed a system called AI system, that whilst you are speaking, the AI
artificial intelligence.
So AI is writing everything.
It's in our courts now.
Yes, in our courts now. So once you speak, it's right. Automatically. So the judge will just look at it and just make. So now instead of judge listening to Mr. Peter, you speak and he writes, and wait again, somebody interpret. Once you are speaking, the AI is transcribing it, into English language, because you speak in English and it's interpreted, but it doesn't capture the local language. It's only concentrated on the English language. So there are just few changes because of some people, their English pronunciations. So you do those changes, and it becomes the records of the courts. Fantastic. So that one is fast-tracked in some of these cases.
Fantastic. And sometimes you hear that a case that was to be mentioned didn't happen because the lawyer didn't show up.
Yeah, normally that happens, more especially in a criminal case, because the law is saying that in any criminal proceeding, somebody must be represented by a legal representation. So normally you will go there, and the person is struggling to secure the service of a lawyer, because you must have a consent or an agreement with a lawyer. You can discuss with the person, but when it comes to the payment, maybe you can go and inform the court that I have start talking to a lawyer, but you didn't agree on terms and conditions, and the lawyer will not come. So the law doesn't permit you to, in a criminal case, for you to be heard without a legal representative. So if they go up to an event that you cannot secure a lawyer for yourself, then there's what we call GALA, that's the Gambia Legal Aid Service. That's the government institution must provide you a lawyer for it to represent you in any criminal procedure. So before those things are done, it's have delay, adjournment, because you must have the service of a lawyer in a criminal cases. You cannot represent yourself.
And just finally on the courts, you hear the mantra, justice delayed is justice denied.
Absolutely.
And a lot of Gambians say, well, the justice system, as I said earlier, is just too slow. Is that your opinion as well?
Yeah, in other aspect, it is actually slow due to lack of adequate equipments to help. Like if you look at cases where somebody went to the High Court and the person feel like he's not satisfied with the decision of the High Court, and the person wants to appeal at the Court of Appeal. Normally what they will do, they said all the records of proceedings that happens in the High Court must be typed and brought before the Court of Appeal, because Court of Appeal is a special court that rely on the proceedings proceedings. They only rely on what happens in they will bring all those facts and hear whether the judge has error in law when he was delivering the judgment, whether he has given equal opportunity. So they will go through the records of proceedings. So normally you have to type those things, and judiciary is having what we call a human resources issues, because somebody reached out to me that I'm following almost 5 years. He's waiting for his record of proceedings to be done so that he can file his appeal. So that's the delayance is not from him. He have paid everything and he has the right to appeal. So, but you have to wait for 5 years for your appeal to be heard. That's a delay in delivering justice. So how do you work on that? That's the role of the judiciary, to make sure that all the records of proceedings are available for the person to exercise his fundamental right to appeal any decision that is made by the courts. So sometimes we have these issues that are handling the court. So there's delay from the judicial side, but there's also delay from the lawyer side. Sometimes you will have a case, a lawyer will write because they take too much of cases, because you want to capture all these monies and everybody. So any clients that comes to you, you said, okay, I will take up your case. So your hand is become full. So normally they don't have that system of courts doesn't say that, okay, you have a case at Brikama, then I cannot give you the same date here. So normally when they are taking date, their dates will clash. So you will see that the person should be in Brikama High Court and he has a case at the same time at Banjul Court. So he will just write to the other courts that I am not available. I'm before Justice ABC at Brikama Court, so I cannot attend your court. So that automatically you will be adjourned. So if that is adjourned, so that delayance too comes from lawyers, also it comes from the judiciary, and sometimes it even comes from the litigants. Sometimes they will not even appear in court, and sometimes court will give them the opportunity to say that fair hearing, let us give him the opportunity next time. When he comes, he explains to us why he is absent. So all these things are delaying that are happening in our court system. But as we are evolving now, the AI system is coming, and there are certain things hopefully we will develop.
Fascinating insights into the court system in the Gambia, Kexx.
Thank you.